Hey there, welcome back to Pepper Geek. In today's video, we'll be taking our overwintering pepper plants out of overwintering and talking about that process. So I'm here in our chilly basement where we have two overwintering pepper plants behind me. One of them was the one from our overwintering video last year, and the other is a Scotch bonnet plant. And we'll be taking both of those upstairs today and just talking about how we underwinter our pepper plants. But first, I just want to talk a little bit about the process of overwintering and how it went for us over this past winter. And down here in our basement, it's just perfect for overwintering. It stayed consistently between 50 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfect for sort of getting your peppers into a dormant state. I used this little thing. It's a Wi-Fi controlled Govee thermometer, hygrometer, and it can track the temperature and the humidity of a location over a long period of time, so you can sort of see the graph of how the temperature fluctuated over the colder and warmer days. And really down here in the basement, there wasn't much fluctuation. I was really impressed with how consistent the temperature stayed, and that's really what you want. So let me show you what the plants look like and talk a little bit about what happened over the winter. So here she is. This is our Numex Suave Orange, and you'll recognize it. Looks a little bit different because there is some foliage. This location gets just a little bit of sunlight from one of the windows in our basement, and that made it the perfect location for the overwintering process. You want your plants to get a little bit of light, but as you can see, the leaves are really pale. There's not much chlorophyll there. There wasn't much activity going on in this plant, and all that we basically did was water the plant occasionally and allowed it to stay in a dormant state. This is our other overwintering plant. This is a Scotch bonnet MOA. And similar progress here, even less foliage growth, and we didn't even have to prune. I was prepared to prune both of these plants a little bit if necessary, but as you can see, they didn't grow enough for that to be a necessity. Again, I think the most important factor to consider is the temperature. If your plants are warmer, they're going to have a much easier time growing. If they have more light, they're going to want to grow more. And by keeping them in this dull, dim, cool environment and watering infrequently, it sort of just forces the plants to stay in a dormant state until conditions improve. One of the most common questions we had was, when do I start taking the plants out of their hibernation and begin transitioning them back into the warmth? And that really depends on where you live and how soon you can get them outdoors. They should grow pretty quickly once you get them into warmer conditions and under some grow lights. So I'd recommend sometime around the time you're planting seeds, or even a few weeks after that, just because the plants are going to grow more vigorously and they're going to begin to take up more space indoors. So you want to try to time it right, but don't go crazy trying to get it perfect. I think regardless of when you bring them back out of their hibernation, the most important thing is giving them some time indoors to sort of grow again, and then transition them outside the same way you would a seedling. You want to harden them off to the outdoors elements, but they're going to do a lot better than your younger plants because they have that nice woody stem. They'll be a lot hardier and they'll be able to handle the wind. And I imagine if you wanted to, you could wait right up until you can get the plants outside and just take them out of your basement or wherever you have them and bring them outside and let them grow directly in the sunlight. And you might not even have to harden off in that case, but I'm not really sure because we've never done it that way. So speaking of improving conditions, that's exactly what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna take this plant, the one from our overwintering video, and take it upstairs into our grow room where it's much warmer. It's in the low to mid 70s Fahrenheit, and we're gonna pop this plant underneath our grow lights. And that's basically it. From there, we're basically just gonna need to water more often as the plant begins to grow more rapidly and use more water. So let's go upstairs. Okay, so this looks like a good spot to start out in. As you can see, we have some of our plants that we grew over the winter indoors, a cayenne there and a buena mulata. And I'm going to put this one sort of underneath these plants with a little bit of shading just to gradually transition them out of that dark, dimly lit area downstairs and into the well-lit room. And it's also considerably warmer up here, as you can see, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, coming out of 55 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to shock the plant and hopefully get it to kick off growth again and begin branching out. And for now, this is basically it. I'm gonna leave this here and begin watering a bit more frequently as well. And let's check back in a week or two to see what progress has been made. Okay, so here we are about a month later. And as you can see, the plant is coming back nicely. It's really bushing out, lots of dark green foliage coming back on the plant. And there are even some flowers coming along, some buds showing up, and we don't really want that, so I'm gonna let them develop a little more and then pick them off so that the plant can focus its energy on producing foliage and not producing fruit. But aside from that, really looking good. You can see this all new branch coming off from the center right there at that node. This branch should continue to grow and produce more foliage before it starts producing fruits. So essentially at this point, it's just a waiting game, and if you wanted to, you could transplant into a larger pot. If you downsized like we recommend to save space indoors, you could then upsize again into a larger container so that the plant has more space to grow. That may actually be one of the reasons that this is already trying to produce flowers, because it is a pretty small pot. So you could go into like a 5-gallon pot or larger from here, basically transplant it just the same way you would any other seedling. Just put it into a larger pot with more soil and water it thoroughly, and your plant should start to grow from there. We're still about a month away from moving our plants outdoors, a little more than a month actually. So now is a good time to upsize the pot, and that's probably what we'll do, but I want to get this video out now because a lot of people have been asking questions about Un-Overwintering peppers, so this is where we're going to leave off in the video. But make sure you're subscribed to Pepper Geek so you get updates throughout the season. We'll be sure to include videos and show this plant throughout the season as it continues to grow and eventually produce fruit for us. And by the way, this one back here is one of our other overwintered plants. It's kind of taken on a different look, but it's definitely still alive. It's starting to grow, and eventually those branches should start to reach out and grow into a full-fledged plant. Check out our ebook, which we launched recently. It's called Growing Perfect Peppers, and it's all about growing peppers from seed to harvest. It's our entire process of growing peppers, and we do touch on overwintering, along with many other tactics and techniques that we use to grow great pepper plants every year. So if you're interested, check it out in the link in the description. So that's going to be all for this video. I hope it helped you overwinter your plants and bring them back out of hibernation. Thanks for watching Pepper Geek, and I'll see you next time.